Welcome, Balls&Brews. Cheers, boys.
Cheers, gents. Pod 71.
Juicy.
What are we drinking, Charlie?
So, the name of the beer itself is Squirrel.
Squirrel.
Just Squirrel. Not Red Squirrel, The Squirrel, A Squirrel, Your Squirrel, nothing. Just Squirrel. So, pretty interesting can. That's kind of
Crazy
what pulled me
looking
in.
can. Crazy looking can.
So it's from TF Brewing, which stands for the Templin family, and they're out of Salt Lake City, Utah. Drinks out of 6.5, so the Mormons are catching up, man. They can make some beer out there these days.
Well, the non-Mormons in Mormon country, because I don't believe they can drink beer.
What are you talking about? As soon as they bought stock in Pepsi, they were able to drink soda, and then as soon as they bought stock in Coors, they were able to drink beer. So says the Holy Scripture.
Of course.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to be making fun of anybody's denomination, but no, honestly, it's a really good beer, and I do like how it is called a juicy IPA because it's not a hazy.
No,
right? It's got a great body to it, and it does have definitely a lot of juice, but it doesn't have any haze. I would say
There's
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Pretty easy drinking. Good
It is
summer
easy.
beer.
It is easy drinking. I like it.
Which is kind of dangerous because it's a 6.5.
6.5.
Yeah, shout out to TF Brewing, the Templin family out of Salt Lake. Cool, 1 for 1. I always like that. Up your game, you know. Sorry, I was gonna shit on somebody and then I forgot.
Not
That's a
necessary.
good thing. Not necessary. Don't throw unnecessary shade, Chug. All right, so I went to a beer and chili event yesterday before we cut into sports, where got to sample some really good different variants of chili from like whatever the theme of the restaurant was. Is kind of like what they did. Like Rim did a chili even with like noodles. It was a Thai inspired like pork chili, and then I had a brisket chili, which was really good.
Ooh.
And then the best one was the birria chili. That was fucking smoking. Also, just because they put it on a bed of rice, which I know is not a normal chili like staple, but dude, it worked really well.
I mean, rice and beans.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It was so good. It was so good. I went back for multiple of those. And then it was also a beer fest. And I got to drink, I would say, what I would call elevated grocery store beer. You know, not shit beer. Definitely not just like Coors and Modis. Not that I also didn't drink some of those later in the night. But I had 10 Tours Disco Punch, which is a 14% cocktail. The Fox's Red, which we've talked about several times on here.
That's good beer.
That was a tasty one that hit pretty good. 50-50 Donner Party Porter. That's a classic.
Good one, man.
That's a very
We haven't
good
had
one.
that on here. We need to get. We haven't had
Have we
any.
not?
We haven't really done any 50-50.
Have we not brought any 50-50?
I almost don't think we did.
That's a shame. No, okay, we owe you guys a review of 50-50.
Because their food in Chucky
everything
is
is
fucking
phenomenal.
on fire.
Yeah, dude, their brewery is top notch, and we were supposed to get one here in the public market, and they have no. It's TBD full through.
Oh.
Like we even asked the guy, he's like, you know as much as I do, is what he said, because I'm sure he's sick of hearing about people ask about it.
Yeah.
I bet you he gets it a lot because it's been in proposition for a while now.
But they're like up there. That restaurant's really good food.
Oh, out in Truckee, absolutely.
Really good food, and then obviously you just get what's it called? And you just,
A flight?
A flight every time.
yeah.
I usually get a flight every time, if not 2 flights, because they have a lot of beer there.
Well, and
A lot of good beer.
right, correct. And luckily, if the brewery does several things well, and you don't want to spend a whole afternoon there drinking pints of each one, you got to do a flight.
Yeah,
Like the flight is a gift in that sense, because
it is.
sometimes I do like to commit though. Sometimes I'm just wanting one
well,
type of beer, and I just 2 feet into the deep end.
Sometimes I do the flight and then take the top out of.
That's also a decent
take
strategy.
the top pick. I'm like, I'll do a
Decent
pint
strategy.
of that one.
Sure.
I have a fairly good understanding of where I like to lean though when I want to drink beer. You know what I mean? So sometimes I've missed, but more often than not, it's like, all right, yeah, there's a good selection. Because even a not great beer is still a pretty good beer. It just sucks when you have to pay $10 for a beer that you didn't enjoy that much.
Sure, yeah, that's another reason why the flight's so great. Just gives you that taste and
The sample, the dabble before you commit. Real nice bartenders, if you are just thinking about jumping to one, will let you have a small sample of it first anyway, right? Like most of them aren't just going to be like, well, here's 25 ounces of a beer you don't know.
Sometimes I want to try multiple beers.
There's that too. I'm not disagreeing. Hey, there's no disagreement with said flight. I love me some flights.
Yeah, flight's also good for trying, branching out and trying those kind of strange beers that maybe you wouldn't try.
Definitely are not going to want 16 ounces of. Yeah, for sure. No, I definitely agree with that. I've tried some really interesting beers that way. So shout out, the chili was good. The beer was good too. Like I said, elevated grocery store beer, nothing to scoff at. Commercially acceptable, as my pops likes to say. So that was fun. And then we caught up and watched some college football, which is was nuts yesterday. Whole week was
I haven't really drinking anything different. I drank a lot of Guinness last night. We're chucking it up. I haven't really had anything new this week since we were on pod last Sunday.
Yeah, no, same for me. I've been recycling past pod beers. I had a Scotch at Pat's on Friday, but I cannot remember what it is called. It was very smoky.
Yeah, I'm sure. Pat definitely comes off as a Scotch guy.
Well, he actually I think he lost a bet to his mom and got it for his mom, but it was like too gasoline-y for them. So I was like, I'll drink it, and I didn't mind it.
Dude, I don't love peaty, dude. That's why I can't do Scotch.
I can do some peaty. It depends. That can be really overpowering.
I'm far more of a miss on Scotch. I've tried to like Scotch because I know it's fancy and it's supposed to be exactly a reserved gentleman's alcohol. I just can't, bro.
Just give me a good fucking.
I do like
bourbon,
it's
whiskey.
funny though because
rye, dude. Ryes are so fucking good.
Ryes are one of those when they are good, are really fucking
Pendleton's
good.
Rye, 1910, dude. That's a top.
That's the one.
Dude, that one's really, and for price wise, it's one of the best ryes you can
for
get.
For its cost, that's always
it's
nice.
delicious. But I mean, there's so many ryes. We were drinking Mitcher's Rye on Saturday night.
That was pretty good. I had a halvesy of that one. That was good.
Friday night before the Wolfpack game, we were drinking Whistle Pig Rye. That's fucking good.
I've had Whistle Pig with you. I don't know if we've had the rye with you. I know that we've had Whistle Pig.
We didn't have this one at least.
Okay.
This is
it's different.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I did actually have some mimosas this morning, but I don't remember the name of that champagne either.
The bubbly kind. It was the one that you put with the juice. Woo! Mimosas are, if you don't like a mimosa, then I don't recommend you drink alcohol.
It's the breakfast beverage.
It's one of them.
Yeah,
one of them. I definitely prefer like Maria's or even like potentially a screwdriver. Yep, that was going to be the other
those
one.
Are I think the top three. I would say.
Yeah. I mean, or just any beer you put in front of me if I'm ready to drink. It doesn't matter.
I mean, a white. Certain beers.
A michelada is basically just a Bloody Mary anyway. Just beer instead of tequila and or vodka.
So let's jump into that game you came up for. It was obviously supposed to be the game of the week. It was number 1 at that point in time and number 5 at that point in time. Texas versus Georgia. Georgia dominated. Texas made a little run there for a little bit. Other than that, Georgia just kicked ass. Proved that maybe the Alabama game was maybe a fluke. Beck still didn't look good.
Yeah, he hasn't.
3 picks. I don't know if he's pressing or what's going on, but he has not looked good. He has not looked like what they're saying top 3 quarterback.
He has not helped himself.
I don't think he's going to be that anymore.
No, he's going to have a heck of a turnaround the end of this year, and it's got to be multiple games in a row where he's the reason why they're winning.
But that defense, that was the best game they've had in the season.
Dude,
for
that
Georgia.
defense stepped up, and we're all over the receivers. Receivers did drop some balls, Ewers had to come out for a little bit. Manning did look pretty good, but defensive line was up in those boys' faces all game.
I was so surprised.
And that offensive line is supposed to be so good. They're like praised as being the best in college football this season.
They got eaten alive last night.
Well, they were smelling the vapors, dude. Number one coming into our house, maybe they underprepared, which is stupid because it's fucking Georgia and Kirby Smart. And A, you don't underestimate any opponent, but B, you definitely don't underestimate a team that's only lost one game in like the last 58 attempts.
I doubt they're underprepared. I think Georgia's that good.
Okay.
I think Georgia's loss to Bama was like, man, Bama's this good, but then Bama's lost, which we'll get into now, 2 weeks in a row.
That is crazy.
So
when's the last time they've done that?
Years ago. So I just think that Georgia is
okay.
I think Georgia.
I'm good with that take.
I think Georgia's they're obviously number 2, right?
I think so.
Right now.
I mean,
Chuck, yeah. They are. They factually are. Yeah.
Well, there was
Oregon.
2 teams that didn't play. Penn State's still undefeated, but I think they do probably jump them with that win because that's a big win. Texas is a good team.
Yes. Well, Penn State hasn't played.
So right now it's Oregon
just yet.
It's Oregon 1 and Georgia 2.
Correct. Penn State 3.
And Penn State 3.
Yeah.
Before we move off that, we gotta talk about that penalty. The one where they called pass interference on the defensive back of Texas, and then fans were going crazy and throwing all the shit on the field.
They got fined.
And they took more time to look at it, and it wasn't pass interference, and they changed the call. Like, you never see that.
That's true. We freaked out about that.
They got it right.
They did.
They did. I would agree with that. I was happy to see that they changed that call.
It was about to change the game.
We said that repetitively. This is a horrid call.
It was.
Because the receiver ran into him. He was the one actually trying to come back for the ball to make a play, so it could have been pass interference.
But you never see that. Thank you. That's a great call, Chuck.
I had to bring
that
up.
Exactly what we saw.
I was just thinking, you never see that. Never, not in the NFL, not in college. They never reverse calls like that.
They're that wrong. No,
yeah, they just on the back end. Oh,
true.
Sorry about that. But they did it, and it was right. And it didn't matter in the overall scheme because Georgia still won. But I like to see that.
It's massive, though. It was an absolutely correct call because they were able to slow it down enough to where it didn't change. They didn't go on to the next play, right?
Yeah, because the delay by the fans.
Yeah.
And God, I'm blanking right now for a second. Texas coach
Sark.
He's helping calm the fans down. He was taking the right approach, and I think all that time it really benefited that call, and that was good.
They had time to sit there and watch. Kirby was pissed, which you got to be at that point,
of course, because again, that doesn't happen.
But yeah, I think that also Texas, Georgia just shut them down like we've never seen before. They didn't even run for 100 yards. It was. Georgia defense stepped up big. Georgia's offense was shaky, obviously. Etienne had 3 tutties, but fucking 3 picks from your star quarterback is not the way to go about shit, man.
Yeah, Texas was so bad offensively. Manning came in at the end of the second half because I don't think they had more than 30 yards of offense. It was
they had
real
15.
bad.
They had 15, right, in their first 3 drives or some shit like that, wasn't it?
It was 15, and then they had only like 78 yards at halftime or something.
Yeah, it was
Ewers didn't look great either. They put him back in after the half because, Manning he had that strip fumble, I think, that kind of made it easier to make that move back.
I'm try to fix this.
Yeah. But I also, I think that Georgia number 2 is right. We'll see what happens here in a little bit. I don't know who else Georgia has to play, but we'll see what happens.
Dude, and I was looking, there's 9 undefeated schools in the top 25.
Yep.
9. Not all those are going to make the playoffs. It's great to see from, Navy and Pitt. That's going to make that game so much fun.
Navy and Army are also undefeated. Pitt's undefeated. Indiana's undefeated. Iowa State's undefeated.
Oregon's
BYU,
undefeated.
Iowa State, undefeated.
Miami. We got to talk about some of those games this week, though. Some of those undefeated.
So right now, let's go back into So game number 2 we're going to talk about was Tennessee, number 11, taking down number 7, Alabama, 24-17. And that game was all second half, boys.
Yeah. Big plays by Tennessee to come back.
Big plays, big plays.
Well, yeah, if you're going to come back against a team like Alabama, you're going to have to do it in a way that shocks, shock and awe. Big plays, strikes, getting down the field. Very rarely are you able to do the methodical drive against a defense as good as Alabama.
Dude, that game was penalty after fucking penalty after fucking penalty. Alabama had like 130 yards in penalties.
How much do you think was actually, like, would you say that they were justified penalties, though?
Dude, I know some were kind of this ticky-tacky,
sure.
But man, there was a lot of fucking flags all over the joint in that game.
With their second loss, that puts them on the bubble.
Yeah, would they fall to, Chuck? 15?
Let's take a look here real quick. I
don't remember who else. I don't remember who else they got left either. But still,
they fell. Good call, sir. Yes, they fell to 15, as it were. The first 2-loss team in the ranking. So yeah, they have to battle now, and they're that was.
Dude, they could be the team that sits at 12 and doesn't make it. Because you get that Boise State or somebody that takes over that spot, remember?
I know. It's so funny that we go from one national championship game to a playoff system with 4, and now we go to 12, and we still might be like, well, somebody got left out. Like, it's going to happen. It's going to happen.
I can't wait.
Dude.
What's the next thing we want to chit-chat about?
I love that they have assessed the idea, the commercial where they're like, college football is complicated. It's like, yeah, you fucked it all up. It sure is. I don't know who's doing what anywhere anymore.
You brought up the Michigan-Illinois game.
Oh, dude, Illinois comes out and beats them like kind of not like 21-7, but kind of like handily won the game.
That's a handle. You didn't give up double digits. That's a handle.
Controlled the game the whole time, man.
You beat Michigan at Michigan's game.
And Illinois 6-1. Their only losses to
it was a close game.
It was Penn State.
Illinois
Penn State, right?
Has a good. I mean, yeah, they're a good team this season, but Michigan, we called that. We were all on that saying that this isn't sustainable.
I had them in my 12. To be fair, I'm not gonna hide behind. I know you guys didn't, but I'm not gonna hide behind the group opinion because I was wrong.
Thank you for admitting that, Chuck.
Yeah,
it takes a big man to do that.
It does. Sometimes it does.
But you got Illinois and Indiana both kind of rolling 6-1 and 7-0.
Yeah, we're gonna get some surprise in the playoff.
The Big Ten has to kind of work itself out. Yeah, there's a lot going on there.
Yeah. Because it depends on who they played left.
You have 18 fucking teams in that school. It's insane. You can't all play each other.
Pull up Indiana.
There basically needs to be a playoff for the SEC and the Big Ten to see who even wins the conference.
Oh shit. 10-26. That's the next weekend?
Yeah, that's the Oregon game.
Oregon, Illinois, dude.
That's
great.
If that game is close,
I love that that's
Illinois has a chance to make the playoffs. If they get blown out, it's over.
After that, they don't have anybody. I mean, they have Maryland, who just beat USC, Michigan State, Rutgers, and Northwestern. So, man, Illinois, dude, big game next week.
They can make a run if they keep up with Oregon. Even if they just look competitive, they might be able to. Maybe if they can pass the eye test, is a huge thing for a lot of people, right? But. If they beat Oregon, that would be something.
If they beat Oregon, they're in.
That'd
be something. They lose to Oregon in a close game, they're in a bubble.
The bubble, 12 teams.
If they get blown out, they're out.
12 teams. How crazy is that?
Okay, so next week, Indiana gets Washington. After that, they get Michigan on 11-9, but Michigan State. They get Ohio State 11-23.
Oof, that could
That's probably the nail.
Dude, that could be undefeated going into that fucking game, boys.
Could be.
Can I ask you something?
Shoot.
Is the game with UW in their house or mine?
In UW. No, versus at home. Indiana at home.
Bummer. Okay.
They have to go to Michigan. They have to go to Michigan State at home at Michigan. Have to go to Ohio State.
Right. Okay.
And then finish with Purdue.
No. Okay. So everything else favors them except for that trip to Ohio State.
Dude, that's sick.
Is brutal.
Dude, they could be undefeated going into that game, though.
They could be. Yes. No. The path is there for sure. No, you're already 7-0. You're stacking wins for sure.
That's huge, dude. That'd be a nice.
It'd be a good parity level to college football to just say, haha, your $20 million staff, you got here, but then you get toppled by a team like Indiana,
Let's move it to Miami-Louisville.
Yo, what a shootout that was. That was such a fun game. What a way to start the day off.
Right now, your number one quarterback in college football if you were picking today?
I know that you state this guy that you don't like his leadership abilities, but if you're looking pure stat-wise, Shedeur Sanders might have a case for like percentage, completion, downfield throws, touchdowns. Like he pushes the rock, dude, and that's what you need in the NFL. And I'm not saying he's going to be the number one guy. I just think that as much as I do like Cam Ward, and I've been watching him for a while because he played at Wazoo, so we had some crazy good Apple Cups against that guy.
Dude, he can sling it.
And he's got feet, and he's got good awareness, and he's strong enough. He's not a slender frame. Like he's a pretty decently built kid too. I mean, he's not Anthony Richardson, but very few.
No, he's like 6'2", 220.
That's solid. Yeah. That's a solid dude. And he passes the eye test a lot of the time, and he's brought Miami back to prominence. So he's going to be able to do a lot with that, right? There's a lot more meat on that bone, I think, than being Deion Sanders' son. I think that one's going to kind of run its, course.
That's who I'm kind of hoping for that I can get.
Ward for the Raiders to the Raiders.
I don't really know who else I want. I don't know how much I love Beck.
Beck's, I mean, he's got to be dropping.
But at this point, I don't even think he looks like a first-round talent, right?
Milroe, I'm like, there are games where I'm like, man, those throws are hella pretty. And then there's games where he misses guys like back. Like, he did not look good yesterday.
His class is actually going to be
he's a project,
step
dude.
down from what we just
That's
had.
What you think that, like,
the last two.
You think
Stroud still
I want to know what people
that previous season.
I want to know what people think of Hendon Hooker.
Well, he hasn't really gotten a lot of time to play. When he came in in the preseason, or he got to come in last game when they were blowing out the Cowboys because they were up by like 37, and he ran a couple of good play actions, and he looked, healthy because I know he had a huge injury coming out and into the draft, which is one of the reasons why he fell. And also, he's an older dude, right? Now he's like 27, 28 already, and he hasn't necessarily gotten any time. But Goff runs that offense fantastically. Like, I hate to say that, but that is his offense.
So Miami is undefeated, right?
Yeah, correct. Yeah,
correct.
Yeah.
They are one of the 9.
Okay. They get Florida State next week, who sucks.
Yep.
After that, they get Duke at home.
Yep.
Then they go to Georgia. Then they have to go to Georgia Tech.
Basketball team.
Then they get Wake Forest at home.
Basketball.
And then they have to go to Syracuse.
Basketball team.
And
they don't play another football team.
Then they would technically probably get Clemson in the ACC championship.
Okay, wow.
And Clemson kind of rolled again. That Klubnik kid is having some nice stats too. Maybe he's a sneaker. He's okay. So Heisman wise, Klubnik could be the sneaker at the back end if Clemson keeps rolling. ACC title game, they get past Miami. He's had a lot of big games of 300 yards. He's one of those dudes that could sneak in.
I mean, he would have to have that game against Miami to be that guy. Otherwise, I don't think he's in that race.
He's just not moving the needle, or like eyeballs are not just drawn to him. Like winning the Heisman isn't just like, it's
you got to have your Heisman moment.
Dynamic,
that would be
exactly. Isn't that how they define it? It's like the most dynamic player in college football. It's because it's not technically the MVP of college football. It's the most like electric. What is the actual defining word they use for it?
I don't know. Who's our 3?
So, we were talking about this.
It's Genty. It's gotta
Gentry,
be.
Boise State's
Gentry,
1.
the Boise State running
Travis
back.
Hunter, 2.
Travis Hunter, 2-way player for Colorado.
And then Cam Ward.
At 3.
Also possibly Gabriel, the Oregon quarterback.
That's the kid we were talking about with the possibility.
Cam Ward's might have more.
He can have
but Cam Ward's stats might be the.
Yes,
right,
he's going to have better stats. It's going to come between those two for how their team plays down the stretch.
Yes,
and
very much
that can
so.
be the difference maker in who wins that award.
Because
the other 2 guys might be the better overall college players.
Gentry, man, let's just see him roll. Boise State Heisman would be tight.
Real quick, that would be nuts. In today's day and age, to get a Boise State
running
Heisman
back
would be
A
nuts.
Boise State running back.
Not just that, they're talking about him breaking Barry Sanders' record.
Oh yeah,
Dude,
I
Mel
shared
Kiper
with
said
you guys,
that he said that he can see him going in the top 15 range in this draft because of how
He's
much
the
of a
first round guy.
Because of how much of a dynamic runner he is.
Look at dude.
Look
To
at running back
speak
going
to
into the
that,
first round this year.
Now I'm gonna do 2 sidebars. One real quick is about
Open that
watching. I got you. Watching Bijan Robinson, so fast, so strong. Like he was picked. I understand that, but he wasn't the reason. He played phenomenally. Kirko, we rattled Kirko, and when you get the quarterback off but the running game wasn't the problem. But what I'm saying though is like, he's able to hit you in the face, move around you, jump over. He just does it all, and like Genty can bring this as well. And I think that's all. If you are a team that utilizes that, I mean, every team can utilize a good running back, but if you know how to apply them and get them help and actually let them do what they're going to do, like you get 3 to 4 potential years of greatness. Right now, you do have to use a first-round pick on it, but how many first-round picks blow out anyway, right? Like, I think on the right team, with the right, that kid's gonna do some shit. Now he literally only runs out of standing eye. Like I don't know if I've ever seen him gun. I don't know if I've ever seen him take the ball from a crouched position.
That's not gonna be too much to teach.
But would you? Okay, I know that you guys aren't. You have a lot of ailments in Oakland right now. Sorry, Las Vegas right now.
Yeah, so I'm taking a quarterback in the first round, and I'm taking a receiver in the second round. So I don't need
it's not.
But I'm just saying,
running backs in the fourth or fifth round.
Right. I understand.
I'd take him if I was.
At any point, would you take a first round running back if you needed one, and he was the dude?
I don't know, man. It's got to be like Christian McCaffrey-esque. Dudes that can do
went eighth. He went eighth overall.
Dudes that can do that. You got to be able to be 3 because you can't just be a banger because there's so much throwing the football. Yes, you still need to run the ball, but I still think you find some legit backs in other rounds too. I know Gibbs really having good, but you can get other backs second down.
Yeah, dude, we have to eat that Detroit Lions pick of Jahmyr Gibbs, right? Like he has really shown out.
And Campbell's really shelled out. They all succeeded.
Yeah.
But where they pick their dudes, they all succeed.
Branch has been really good.
Branch has been fucking stellar, dude.
He's figured himself out. He was a little overzealous his first year last year, and he's really figured it out this year. And we'll see if we can see Detroit back in the NFC Championship game.
Any other college football we want to touch on?
Yeah. I was going to bring it back with the Iowa State comeback against UCF.
To stay undefeated. Yeah.
Dude,
that's huge for the Big 12.
Big 12 leaders for Iowa State, man. Big 12 leaders in Iowa State.
Yeah, no, and let me see. Where did they move up to? Did they? They must have potentially moved up.
No,
so they moved down 1.
Yeah, which is weird.
That is odd. I mean probably because it was a comeback style win, right? Like it was a. Yeah.
They were expected to beat that team, but yeah.
I still think a win's a win, man. I don't know. When you fall because you have a close win, well, you still won the game.
Right.
Oh, Jets go up 7-3.
Oh, yeah, that game's going now.
Yes.
Also, I mean, BYU stays undefeated, beats Oklahoma State.
Yep. BYU 7-0 too, man. Right there at like 11 or 12, right, Chuck?
BYU is 11. You got these down, my dude. He's over here. I don't even know why you need me to refer to anything.
Do we want to say anything about USC? I just couldn't believe that score when I saw it.
Well, let me say.
I was working. I didn't get to watch it.
We'll do that in some fandom because I got to talk a little Nevada. We'll talk a little USC in the fandom. All right. Let's bounce into what's actually been like this. The AFs or the AL playoff championships games have been so fucking good. Dude, the game 3, was it game 3, right? Was it game 2 or 3?
3.
Where fucking
Stanton
come out, Stanton and Judge come out and go back-to-back to take a fucking 4-3 lead. God damn it. And then the Yankees get an insurance run in the 9th. And you're like, okay, the fucking Guardians,
2-run dinger.
2 outs, pinch hit, 2-run bomb to tie it up 5-5. They hit another 2-run bomb to win that game. Then the next game, same type of shit, dude. Every game of the AL was so fucking fun.
Fire.
Yankees did win it in 4-1, but every game was so fucking fun. Like so fun. Both closers blowing it, dude, and closers that didn't blow leads ever. Like really good pitchers. I think the AL's been way funner than the NL. The NL's kind of been a blowout. Like each team's kind of been blown out. There hasn't been great games. Right now, that game is going on, and I think the Mets were up when we went on. I don't know what the score is at this point.
It was 1-0, yeah. But the Yankees won.
It's 2-1 Dodgers.
Oh shit! Okay, so it's flipped. But the Yankees won the AL pennant on Friday. They are heading to the World Series.
In another crazy game where Soto hits a 3-run bomb in the top of the fucking 10th. Dude, that was sick, dude.
Yeah, went to extras. And
that's what I want to watch, though. Give me good baseball. Give me runs changing, lead changing, drama. Dude. It's so fun. Because every swing of the bat every swing of the bat, man, could change the game. You get a couple guys on, oh fuck, next swing of the bat from anybody. Pinch hit, home runs, fucking.
Yeah, playoff baseball is a different kind of bean for sure. It's insane that you play 162 regular season games to get here. But so far, 1 out of the 2 spots in the World Series has been spoken for.
Dodgers up 3-2 in series.
Right. So if they get it tonight's closeout.
2 games in LA too. This one and the next one.
I don't see any which way that the MLB does not make this happen. The Dodgers, Yankees.
Dude, that's like conspiracy type shit. Come on.
I've said it for every pod.
Chuck.
Yeah, I'm gonna continue to say that.
That's awful stuff. There's no conspiracy in sports.
Yeah, dude. Rob Manfred is.
I think the Dodgers just get it because they're. I think the Mets have the juice. We talked about the juice, right? Last pod.
The juice.
How much juice you got left? I think they got about as much juice as this beer's got left.
It's got a lot of juice.
That was a good one. That was a good one.
So I think that it's going to end up being Dodgers Yankees, and as a baseball fan, I'm excited to see Dodgers Yankees. I'm excited to see both those parks are going to be fucking rocking. We get Judge, we get Soto, we get Ohtani, we get Giancarlo, who's been fucking just lights out right now. That guy's the best hitter in the playoffs right now. You get Mookie Betts. I'm excited for it. I think it's a great series for baseball.
It is. It absolutely is. It's the 2 biggest markets at a time where LA was expected to be here. New York at one point was really considered, and then they had a fall off, and then they've turned it around. So, that would be the best. You want to talk about the juice? That is the juice, and that's Boston, LA, and the NBA kind of thing. Like that's 2 really, really big programs that sell and move tickets. They're not necessarily. I wouldn't say they're necessarily chief rivals anymore, but just as far as the matchup, East Coast, West Coast, the history of these 2 teams. Oh my goodness!
Iconic jerseys.
Yep.
Just the jerseys themselves, the blue and the white of the Dodgers, the pinstripe of the Yankees. Dude, it's just iconicness of baseball.
It is. It is 2 of the absolute blue bloods.
Well, you boys ready to pick some NBA?
Let's do it.
It's back now. We just finished up the preseason pretty much this week.
Do you want to do East first because we're kind of more West people?
Well, I think that the East has less bangers than the West. So if we're going to go anticlimactic, yeah, we'll go East first. Although the champs are in the East.
You want to go every 2, every 3, every 4? How do you want to do it?
Oh, as far as we'll just give me your 1. We'll just go 1 through 10 playoff teams.
Okay, I got Knicks at 1.
I agree with that. That's my 1.
Same.
Celtics at 2.
Same.
Yep. Okay, so we're not generating a lot of good content.
Here's my 3. My 3 will be different. I have my Cleveland Cavaliers at number 3.
Oh damn. Okay.
I have the Sixers taking that spot.
I have Milwaukee taking that spot.
There you go. I think I do have. I'll shoehorn back now. I have Cleveland at 4.
I have Bucks at 4.
Philly at 4.
I have Philly at 5. I have no faith in Embiid.
I can understand that.
Or Paul George staying healthy the whole year.
I have Milwaukee at 5.
Cleveland at 5.
Okay, so there you go. So we all pretty much just rotated.
Yep. So our top 5.
There's a little. It's all the same teams, but a little different order.
Okay. I have Magic at 6.
I have the Pacers at 6.
I got Magic at 6 as well.
I have Pacers at 7.
Same.
I have the Heat at 7.
Oh, no love for the Magic. Okay. I have Heat at 8.
I have the Heat at 8 as well.
I have the Magic at 8.
Oh, so all 3 of those teams not in the same order. Yeah.
And I mean, this is really boring, but those are all the teams that were in the playoffs
really?
Last season in the East.
Good for us.
Same
it's
exact
chalk, basically.
Chalk.
No.
I mean, it seems like it's just going to play out that way, though. We kind of know that the East is good and these teams are good.
Yes.
And unless they sustain like a significant injury, they should be there.
There's not a surprising team. There's not a team like we're the Magic where you're young and coming. The Pistons are young and coming. I had 9 and 10. I'll go through them real quick. I got the Hawks at 9 and the Bulls at 10.
The Pistons need to do a fire sale. Just an absolute.
They kind of did that last year.
Well, they didn't do it right.
Well, I think they're actually
to
starting the season pretty hot.
Well, they have preseason. We'll see what they do regular season. Lose 42 in a row or some shit.
I wouldn't doubt it. But I also have Chicago in there. I'm hoping for the story of Lonzo returning and that team being good enough to get maybe there.
That's why I had him at 10.
I thought about Atlanta. I almost picked Atlanta, and then I just threw a dart and hit Charlotte.
All right.
They squeezed out to my 11th. I went Chicago, Brooklyn.
Nets.
I throw the Nets in there. I think Claxton can have himself a season, and I forget there's another good guard. Is it Dimwitty is still out there, and there's a couple of pieces out there that I like. So Charlotte, I just don't buy into either. Sure. That ball has always bothered me. I've been a fan of Lonzo, but not fucking Lamelo.
Who's your champion coming out of the East?
Oh man, I mean, I think I'm just for the sake. I'm gonna go chalk, and I just think that I do think it's the Knicks year.
I have the Knicks too.
I don't want to be like
me 3. God damn, we all agreed on that. I just love the offseason moves.
I was not picking the fucking Celtics.
That's sure, and I don't trust Philly at all, nor Cleveland. I don't trust anybody else to make a.
It's a Knicks Celtics run without the big injury.
It should be Milwaukee, Giannis and Dame if they find some
defense.
Unhinged fucking magic though.
They need like somebody young. They need something, and they don't have that.
That's true. They didn't do any something this offseason.
They don't have the surprise dude that's coming off the bench that's going to light it up.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that.
That 3.
I shouldn't even have him at 4. I didn't even think of that. I just can't do this. The 76ers just.
Hey, and honestly, sometimes your intuitions with stuff like that land. I
almost kind of wanted to put the Magic higher. I thought that team's young and coming, but I just wish they would have hit the. I do love that they got kid from KCP. I do love the KCP move, but I don't think it jumps them that high. I wish they would have got one more dude, but I do love the KCP move because I also think that I have a little thing in my heart for the Nuggets, but I shouldn't have put them where I put them. But let's go with the West.
The West.
I'll start it off.
Let's go. Yeah, so how do you like to say that?
I didn't want to yell in your ear, Charlie, but I'll have the Thunder at number 1.
Echo those sentiments. I know that Chuck doesn't want to hear it, but I kind of like the Thunder.
Dude, I love that roster.
Season, man.
I love the roster.
Who you got number 1?
Because I didn't want to put the Thunder there. I put Denver there.
Okay.
Oh. Wow, that's high. I'm not.
It's conservative. There's a couple other teams that I see in there that can push that, but
I have T-Wolves at 2.
Nice.
Even with losing Cat,
I think that yeah, you have Rudy Gobert still as your defensive present. You have Randall and Edwards. It's time to take over.
I think it's addition by subtraction.
I do too.
Fact of it's never that I've been a Cat detractor, but he just never seems to add. He always just seems to kind of piss and moan, make a couple of shots here and there. He dropped a 60 burger last year, so I can't necessarily scoff at that.
He can do it. He just got to do it multiple times in a row, and I think he's kind of babyish.
I think he's very, very babyish.
But I T-Wolves at 2. Trev?
I went Denver at 2. Jokic.
I just don't know how they have enough around him anymore.
And
we're losing KCP and having no bench.
Well, I mean, Murray, he just got that team needs to stay healthy.
They'll still have Porter Jr.
Those Porter Jr. and Gordon sometimes disappear like a fucking ghost.
They can, but they can also heat up and get you a chip. So
last year did not.
OKC number 2 for me. I have to. I know. I have to be reasonable. I have to understand the layout of it.
It's tough. It's tough.
I didn't know where you were gonna put them.
That team's fucking stacked, dude. They made great trades this offseason, and they have picks coming out of their ears. Dude, that franchise is fucking set, dude. It pisses me off.
Sam Presti's killed it.
It's one of those things where a long-term rebuild, they tore it the fuck down, and they built on all this equity, and they made the right moves when they had the ability to, and they didn't reach for things.
Hitting out of the park with Shea, piece 1.
And
then then you get also what's his name, Chet. In the
exactly.
Draft.
So that's what I'm saying, though. But they did it in the way that they knew that they were going to suck for multiple years. They fucking knew it.
The signing of Harkenstein is a huge, and I think the Caruso trade gives them that defender out on the top.
Yeah, okay. All right, we're gushing enough. All right,
let's go. I have the Nuggets at 3.
Okay, I have Mini at 3. That's where I put the Wolves. Edwards, we didn't even mention fucking Ant. Dude.
I said Ant, dude. That's why I said That's why I said pick him at 2.
Fucking animal, dude. I love watching. He's my current favorite superstar to watch. Now I know he also can be overzealous sometimes. He's got to slow down. Sometimes he's just constantly in high gear when he doesn't need to be. But when it works, man, oh my god, he's so fun to watch.
Trev?
I'm going Dallas. The way that they came on at the end of the season, I think that team is like Minnesota. Again, that trade with Cat, that's a question for me. Like, I know Ant's gonna be there. He's gonna push that team into the playoffs, but I'm still a little skeptical.
And you're allowed to be. I have Dallas at 4.
I have the Kings at 4.
Ooh, high on the Kings. I know. I like the DeMar DeRozan signing. I thought that
gives them
made
another
sense.
offensive weapon with Fox.
They need a little offset. Yeah, a little 2-guard play. I think that can work.
Yep.
Sabonis is, still going to be there, still young and athletic. Like, I think that roster that Pacific is fucking going to be
hard.
a little tricky, though.
I went Kings at 4.
This is where Minnesota falls for me. I have those questions, but I know they're still going to be good.
This is okay. I shouldn't be high on this team, but this is where I'm putting Phoenix. 5.
I couldn't. Who'd you have at 4?
Dallas.
Yeah.
I
have Dallas at 5.
I put Phoenix at 5.
Oh man.
I know. It's funny because it technically will probably end up being closer to chalk as well, but the bottom 5 are excruciating sometimes where you're like, who the fuck's going to make it?
I think I like Sac at 5.
Okay.
They fell out last year, but I do like the moves they make, and I expect them to bounce back. I still like a lot of the players on that team.
And that's why I have Sac at 6.
I have the Lakers at 6.
I
think Dalton Connect. I don't want to say this about a rookie. This season on whether we finish 6
you think
or
Bronny James Jr. going to come in and drop
Dalton
12 and 10?
I think a lot of it's on Dalton Connect, how well he shoots from
He fell, dude. They were all Billis was like, I don't know what happened to NBA front offices because this kid's going to come in and make a difference. And I mean, preseason is preseason, but hey,
dude, when you hit 20 the last 20 points even in a preseason game in the NBA,
no, there's some energy there.
I think a lot of it, because we're going to want to shoot the 3. And he's one of the 3. He's maybe our best 3-point shooter, maybe.
Okay.
Already, I think that a lot of the season, if he goes, I think we have a real high chance of going. I also think you still got to figure out how to get rid of what's his face and bring in somebody else that can shoot a higher percentage.
All right, let's get on to number 7.
Oh,
I have this.
Did you? Who's your 6? I still got my 6.
Was Sacramento.
Oh, and just my 6 is left then.
Oh,
for my 6th, I'm going New Orleans, man. They seem promising. They got in last year. If they can build on that at all, I still like a lot of those pieces.
Left them out, if I'm being honest.
Oh, I did not. I have the Suns at 7.
Same. I did the same. Just the talent, you just can't. They're gonna be good, but how many games do those guys play?
Well, I appreciate that I put your Warriors in front of you. That's where I put the Warriors.
Well, thank you for that.
I didn't even have them in. I have Pelicans at 8.
There you go.
All right. For 8, I went actually Houston. I think they're young up and coming.
Now
team.
We're mixing up the West.
I got Houston at 10.
Now we're mixing up the West. Don't. Hey, look, come on. I got to get my 8 before we go to 10. I got your Lakers at 8 right here. They will find a way. LeBron James will find a way to get into the fucking playoffs.
Anthony Davis.
There's enough there for sure. It's whether or not they can stay out of the headlines for being so dramatic.
Yep.
But
I'm down on the Lakers. I'm down on both LA teams.
I didn't put the
So start us off at 9 then.
For 9, I got my Golden State Warriors. I'm hoping that they can build on some of those younger players.
Give me some. Give me your 9.
Grizz.
Okay, I was out on the Grizz so hard. I shook it up at the bottom, dude. These are teams that aren't going to make it, but I want them to. These are just glory picks. Utah. I want to see Lauri Markkanen absolutely explode this season. And if he does, he can take that franchise somewhere. That kid is so good.
Is he good, or does he just...
No, he's good.
Stat compiler because of that team.
Sure,
man.
And that's fine. But no, yeah, the rest of that team is schmeh. I'm just throwing darts.
I have Houston at 10.
And then, what, did you give 9?
Well, yeah, 9 was Golden State for me.
Oh, right, sure.
10 for me was Memphis. They should be good enough to make the playoffs, but they just keep, hitting themselves in the face. They can't be that dumb to fuck up again, and then they fuck up again.
They probably will. and I'll probably regret putting him where I put him.
Wemby.
I thought about it.
Let's go San Antonio 10. Yeah, why not, dude? He can impact enough games potentially. I'm not, that's why it's 10.
I still think they're a year away. Like they can beat some teams they're not supposed
to.
I think they're a year away.
I think they're gonna fall short.
I did that with the bottom of my West. I did those with just some dart throwers.
Who's your champ?
But I love watching him play. Damn. My champ?
You know who mine is. I'll say it quietly.
I don't want to say it.
I'm not saying it. We're both Thunder and Nick.
Thunder in the house.
I'm not saying it. I'm not saying it. I'll go on.
Thunder?
I'll go off pod. I'll write it on.
So
I'm not putting it on wax.
No, who's your champ?
I'm not putting it on wax.
Who's your
West champ?
Who's your West champ? You have to say somebody, so don't pick them then.
But that's who I think is going to win the West. I think it's going to be Oklahoma City.
All three of us are the same.
Damn.
I was petty enough to give them the 2 seed overall because that part I can be wrong about, but I don't want to be long term wrong about I have to be.
And I'm really
objective.
They got really 2 exciting players in Chet Holmgren and Shea.
Yes.
Wemby's going to be awesome to watch this year.
And of course, we'll be rooting for our teams to get there, but this is a matchup that I would just love to see. OKC in New York in the finals. If my team isn't good enough, those are the teams I'd like to see.
I really love the way that Thunder have built that team, like through the draft and through trading. You don't have your superstar came from a trade where you traded, somebody else who wanted the big 3, and you got Shea. You hit the draft picks out of the park, and now you get Harkison and Caruso are like just gonna fill that team out with more of that aggression, that that defensive presence on both of them. It's they've filled a lot of holes. Now it's staying healthy,
team building,
and it's it's team building.
I got 3 words for you. Let's go Knicks. Woo! That's what I'm taking as my champ.
I got Thunder written down.
I'm going
SGA, buddy.
New York, baby.
SGA is going to be your MVP, your Finals MVP, and the NBA champ, buddy. Thunder, do you feel the thunder?
The NBA
thunder, do you feel the thunder?
No. Now I'm going to kick you out of my house. You keep No.
We're going to refill these brewskis.
We sure are.
And we're going to come back with some hot.
There's been some amazing NFL since we've last talked.
Really good, dude. There were 2 games today that ended in field goals with 4. Obviously, both teams are good. We've had some close games. We've had a couple blowouts. It's rolling hot. Before we take a break, though, what's that score going in right now, Trev?
So, I just Lynx 34, Liberty 27 for the WNBA championship.
Game 5, baby.
This is the first Game 5, I believe, since 2019. It doesn't happen that often for the WNBA. And we got a pretty good series.
Jets, Steelers 7-3.
Ugh.
And Dodgers, Mets 2-1, top 3, first and second with 2 outs. So as soon as we
down
break,
a little bit there too. All right, we'll be back.
Welcome back to Balls and Brews. Cheers, boys.
Cheers.
Cheers, gents.
Here we go.
Heck yeah, man. It's been a minute since we had a cider on here, I believe.
The dry on that.
Portland Cider Co. Kind of dry, right?
Yeah.
It's also semi-sweet. Now, we also have been eating candy, so there's just sugar in our mouths, but I like that. It's dry up front, sweet back end. I was expecting it to go the other way. Sweet up front, dry back end.
I like how it is dry up front and sweet back end.
Okay.
A lot more than the dry back end.
I get you. So even though they're called the Portland Cider Co., which is cool because I've never seen this before, so shout out to Downey for finding a newbie. But they're from Clackamas, Oregon.
Clackamas.
Yeah, which we didn't geographically look up how close that is to Portland, but that's not Portland, I don't think. Maybe it's Reno Sparks. I don't know. But 6.9, you guys.
That's
it's not
hefty cider.
I was gonna say it's not a 4 point whatever. This is a full on beer.
We've hit a lot of ciders in our bring-ons.
We have shifted a few times for sure. As brews, we take liberally on this station. Sometimes we've even done a couple of ready to drink cocktail kind of things.
We pack punch.
Yep, that was one of them.
And then that coffee, that Irish coffee thing, that was much more of just like.
Trev like to chuck them.
I mean, and that's fine.
Not the coffee guy.
Well, boys, there's 2 huge trades. Like to know what
we
you
have
think
not been back since the trades have happened.
Like to know what you think of each one. Let's start with Amari Cooper goes from the Raiders to the Jets for a 3rd-round pick, a conditional 2nd, depending on stats and all that. I also think that the Jets are taking – or Devontae, sorry. Devontae. I also think that they take most of Devontae's salary, too, which is a plus.
Yeah.
Like, Devontae is the bigger name. I think Cooper's the bigger trade. I think
Cooper went to the Bills for – what was that trade consist of?
3 and a 7.
Just I feel like with all the youth on there, you like a lot of it for Buffalo, but having that veteran presence for him, I think could be the difference maker in making Buffalo like that team. I mean, they looked good early on, and then they kind of came back to earth. But this, I think, just could keep them there and right on the cusp of winning it all.
And Shakir, he was healthy today, and you could tell, man, he was getting target after target.
That's another piece. Yeah, they were missing him, getting him back. They got Davis out and Cook. I mean, once they get those guys get back.
With Cooper, they got a 6th-round pick too. So they
was it 3rd and a 6th?
No, they gave a 3rd and a 7, and the Bills got Cooper and a 6th.
Copy that. Okay.
Which is so weird. Some of these trades are so weird like that. Like, you get these.
How do they come to those picks?
The balances of it. Yeah. It's weighted, right? Like as far as like what round.
It is. It has something to do with the money. Each one is worth so much.
Contracts that you have to be able to compensate for. It's always money. It's always money against the cap.
But dude, I agree. The Bills getting Cooper. I think that with the health of Shakir is huge because he's kind of like Josh's kind of check down, and then
he's his most familiar target.
And then now you get Coop and Coleman. Like you're starting to kind of build a nice little wide receiver.
Kincaid and Knox can catch the ball.
Yeah. And Cooper's not going to be the one that bitches and complains. He's just going to kind of go do his thing.
He's going to be so happy to be back to a winning team.
Well, and when Cook's been healthy, he's been better this year. And I like Davis, the guy that got in the draft.
Really good
That's
step
a nice
in.
1-2 for their running back.
Really good step in with Davis, man.
Ray Davis
better than it's
amazing.
been at least since the Josh Allen era. They've always seemed to struggle at that position. It feels like they got some guys now.
It does, and I think Cooper mixes with that team really well. So I do agree that Cooper is the bigger.
We always preach team building. This is one for the team, right? They didn't have to give up a whole lot. They also, I don't think Amari Cooper's making a lot of money, and it gives your guy the reassurance that, hey, we're reinvesting into you. You see this, we know we lost, and we're seeing the struggles, so we're coming out here and we're going to get you a dude again, right?
And before we get to Devontae Adams and that trade, the team that I feel like got left out was San Diego. They're in need of wide receiver. The LA Chargers are in need of a wide receiver, and they kind of got just left because those were the top 2 of the market.
Does Mike Williams come crawling back when he
that's been talked about, and he would seem like a viable option since he has familiarity with the organization, but his injury, like him being healthy, has been an issue.
Cooper Kupp, does he get traded? Does Matt Stafford get traded? What are the who's the next piece? How many more weeks we got? 2 weeks trade deadline?
Yes, it's week 7. It's the end of week 9. 2 weeks. Yep. So
do we see the Raiders make a move at quarterback?
I honestly don't think we see too many more drastic things. Traditionally, the NFL trade deadline isn't anywhere as crazy as like baseball, hockey, basketball.
But the Jets still could be dealing with Hassan and with Mike Williams at least, and what they get back in return could be the difference in winning that AFC East.
You don't think they're just going to try to ride Hassan now? Because he did sign. As of today, he is playing, actually. Yes. You don't think they're just going to play him?
Well, he's got to play, and then whether he's in it's for him either way. Whether he's with the Jets or with another team, he's playing to get that new contract.
Well, yeah, of course. But
he did get a contract though. They
did.
Was it just not just the year? Did they give him a deal? Did they give him a deal? I didn't know. I didn't hear that. Are we reporting that?
His 2,000 plus new incentives will recoup him $12 million loss in fines. So just like an extension or just more money this year. It seems like
still that's big. That means he's most likely staying with the Jets, and that defense
at least for this year
is going to get it.
If he can figure it out, he's good at the top of his game.
But Aiden got hurt last week. We haven't talked about that. They need to make a move, in my opinion. The Lions.
Losing Hutch. That's true.
Well, I mean, if the Raiders are bad, Crosby's the popular name that keeps coming up.
I don't know, dude. That's like face of franchise.
I know.
You got to. I agree. I don't think you don't. It doesn't matter what they're offering. Keep that guy.
If they offer you 3 firsts, which they don't have,
I mean, you'd have to. God, but I wouldn't want to. I still wouldn't want to.
I don't either. He's my guy right now. But
he's the culture. He's the culture. But
who else is out there though? Like, think about who's another DN out there? They're not going to get Myles Garrett.
I don't know. Why not? Why not? The Browns are in tankathon mode.
Yeah, they might be.
They're going to have to be. Yeah. They just lost Deshaun Watson. DTR came in and looked like dog poo. They're going to see what Jameis has next week because why the hell not?
Right.
But they just they need to accept their fate for this year. I think their hole is too deep. That AFC North is starting to shine in other directions now. I don't think the Steelers have necessarily, they're 4-2. I get that, but I think they're going to fizzle out. I think the Jets are going to end up winning this game tonight. They were up 15-6 when we started again. So, I think the Browns need to sell. I do. I think that this Deshaun Watson experiment obviously didn't work. And you need to get assets wherever you can. If Njoku can catch a 3, trade him. If Denzel Ward can catch you a 2, tear it down, Cleveland. Sorry. Nick Chubb's a beast, but he's a running back, and he's just coming back from a fucking ACL, so he won't necessarily have immediate value. But I think you move off of some of these pieces that you're paying a shitload of money to and then try to reformulate next year as you obviously are going to move up draft boards. Because you're going to lose more games.
Is just so
it's awful
for the Browns.
It's so bad
because of that Watson contract.
I know, which means that they have to find a way to get guys to come in, whether it's through draft picks or undrafted free agent. They're going to have to get young.
Be fired.
I don't think it's GM signing.
You think it's the owner?
You 100% think it's owner. I think he is 100% the reason they did that.
I mean, it didn't seem horrible at that time because you felt like he could have been that quarterback.
You still had that he could be, exactly.
But now writing feels like it's on the wall, man.
That's what I'm saying. You have to make a move. So
he's been awful this year. And then
I also
can also use the word please.
I also think so Browns need a quarterback, right?
Yes, 1,000%.
So Browns need a quarterback. That's one team. Raiders need a quarterback. That's 2.
Giants. The Raiders. Who are the Raiders?
Giants need a quarterback. That's 3.
Giants need a quarterback. Yeah.
Possibly the Saints.
Maybe the Saints is 4.
How many years did they give? How many years did they give Carr? Was it 3 or 4? Because he's in his second year. Was
3 or 4? 4.
It depends on where the guarantees are, but because they normally are a team that's not considered to have a lot of cap, and if they did give Carr a decent contract, they might be a little hamstrung as well.
Panthers. So
yes,
there's only 5 or 6 teams that need.
If they're not gonna retry the Bryce Young experiment immediately,
I think he's coming back in this season, and
this game, how he plays, this next game, I think
he should be in next game.
I think they're gonna give him first team reps again. Andy Dalton's fizzled. He I said off pod. He had the 1 game juice where he came in and revitalized for everybody got behind him. Wide receivers were open. He made good throws. It was 1 week. Since then they've been porous. We won our Hey, shout out to the bets, brother. You know what I'm talking about? We've gone 9-0 the last 3 weeks. Y'all better be paying attention. X and Instagram will be putting these bets up now. All right, we'll be making you money. No, we started off a little rough. We had some come to Jesus meetings. We talk about these bets a lot more.
It's got a better feel for the teams, and
it's paying dividends.
We're paying.
Knock on wood. Yeah, we're winning it. So this is one of the games that we called.
Quarterback wise, so we need 6, right? 5, 6. Those teams are bad.
Yeah.
What about you? Are you in that 5, 6? Are you part of number 6?
Dude, if Seattle for like a quarterback,
correct.
Okay. So this is always the trick: is the best time to look for a quarterback is when you don't need a quarterback, right? Geno is playing very good. He was leading the NFL in passing yards coming into this game, and he had 207, not too much. It was a good game script because Kenny Walker got his, and like we were able to run the rock, and it was. I think that if you're looking towards the future, it's not a bad idea. But I don't know where you use that equity because hopefully we're not going to be far up enough to get one of those guys. That's what I'm hoping.
Yeah, Geno hasn't been that bad, but there's been, I think, an emphasis on passing in Seattle because that defense has just been so bad.
Porous.
We had a bad run. But today, I think, we held Kirko to 14 points.
That was impressive. I mean, we're here, so let's talk about it.
Okay. I think that the game was Kenny Walker had sickness, had illness on his birthday. Shout out. He still scored 2 touchdowns, had a great catch, and a couple of really solid runs. Metcalf had 4 for 99 in a tud. He had himself a day. We looked competitive. We tackled. We played proper shallow zones. We gave up a couple. You always do when you play that shallow. But overall, we played a very good defensive game. We really only missed like 5 tackles instead of 15. Didn't turn the ball over. Won the game. It was consistent. It was just consistent football. We did a couple of really stupid things after some really good things, right? Which is like self-momentum, like you'd sabotage. Like that does happen on drives. Overall, very happy with today. That's why I still got on my Jigba jersey. Yeah, thumbs up for that. But as far as quarterback alone, if Sam Howell is meant to be the successor, and we get him for another, because we have him on his rookie deal. It's only his second year, so
how many years are left on that deal? Do you know?
Well, you get 4 for his rookie deal, so it's the second year. So we'll have him for next year, and then if he does literally anything, we can negotiate that year.
Okay, I wasn't sure if it was his second year, and I couldn't.
It's his second year, yeah.
Yep.
Right. So he's not he was a third rounder, or he was not a first rounder.
No,
so
he's not.
I think he was a third rounder. Yeah. So, he'll have 2 more years. We'll have him under contract for 2 more years. So if that's a succession plan, I can kind of see that working because he's 24. He's got 13 starts under his belt with the Commanders, or it was like he played the whole season. I think it was like 17. They just didn't make the playoffs, obviously, but
definitely has the opportunity to be groomed up in that system.
I want to focus on this year. I think that Geno actually has a good amount to offer this year. I do think Grubbs is working with him well. Like we just mentioned a little bit, we had a sack fumble return for a touchdown. We played really tight defense. Like I said, like thumbs up. Seattle go in that direction. I don't want to be overly crazy because we could easily get smacked next week against Buffalo. Josh Allen could eat. But shout out to Pritchard. Came in as a rookie and played really fucking well. Kobe Bryant returned to cornerback because we needed him to. He had a pick. He played fucking great. There was Julian Love, another great game. Leonard Williams had a sack. Boye Mafe strip sack. Derek Hall had a score. Sorry, it was great. It was so nice to return to form. It was so nice. It was so nice. There's my fandom right there. There it is. Gushing. All right.
What's the next game? Jacksonville gets a dub.
Oh no, London. They needed that.
Drake May goes 26 for 37 for 276 and 2 tutties, so he had a good game.
It's not to say yes, right, correct. Which I think it shows exactly what you need to see out of him, which is the ability to read the field, make some good throws. Like he's not going to lose you the game.
And guess what? Trevor Lawrence 15 for 20 for $193 and a touchdown, but they ran the ball for
Bigsby was killing it.
So that's the Jacksonville team that we thought we'd see. So we see it here and there.
No, that's not the one I
well, that's the one that
was
low
should
on. But we'll see if that win matters at all.
Well,
it's true.
They finally got healthy at a lot of the wide receiver spots. And the running backs, like Bigsby, you don't really lose anything with him.
Dude, he's huge right now, man. He's huge.
He has stepped in for the replacement of ETN almost better. I'd say that he
might fit that team better.
Yes, he does.
Like, definitely got to use both of those guys, but you got to use both of those guys.
Runs angry.
Yeah,
there's a difference.
Does.
There's the reason why his name is Tank. Yeah. You're not afraid to put him up the gut. And there was some awesome pole blocking that the Jaguars got into to unlock his abilities. Like, it was. The Jags actually looked like a football team this morning.
Correct.
It was nice.
Both wins, they've looked really good.
Right, but
then when they lose, they look like just awful.
Yeah, so Doug Peterson gets to come back across the pond with a job, so good for him.
If they had lost, fired.
Probably. We talked about that last week. Yeah, probably.
Sit him down and shut him up.
I mean, please. Like, sometimes you got to rip the cord, pull the Band-Aid off.
We'll touch on some of these games real quick. Bills get a big, basically beat the crap out of the Titans 34-10. Like we said earlier, Josh kind of back to normal stuff, hitting Shakir a lot. Coop did have catches in that. Coleman had catches in that. Just a good team.
A couple of good ones.
Good team win.
But how about the Texans and Packers?
Dude, huge.
I
was watching the Lions and Vikings, but Packers kick a field goal at the end of the game to get the win. Man, that's two good teams, man.
Yeah.
That's two good teams. Packers was the team I picked to go to the Super Bowl, I'm pretty sure. Right? Yeah, Packers and Bills.
They're not picking out of the NFC.
Pick the Texans, actually.
Let's go Hawks.
Yeah, both 5-2, or the Texans are. Yeah, both teams are 5-2 though. But
no,
those
Vikings
are two good teams.
5-1.
No,
Packers.
Packers,
I'm
Texans.
sorry. You're right.
Still two good teams. So I don't really take much of Houston losing that game, but Packers win that game just kind of solidifies that team is starting to take steps.
Or you got to win ugly. That's the mark of a championship team. It's not always going to be pretty where you're going to win by 3 or scores or whatever. What do you do after the game script is off? It's been shit for a little bit. You've done it good enough. You're here. You have the ability to win the game, and you go and win the game. That's championship football because it ain't pretty, man. It's just not. You want to put up touchdowns. You want to have this great fucking offense, and, things go right all the time. Wrong. It's just not
ball
football.
Doesn't always bounce your way.
It doesn't. The cookie doesn't always
that
crumble.
Ball is awkward.
The worst game of the week. The 2-4 Miami Dolphins played now the 4-3 Colts 16-10.
Yeah, that was a trash
Anthony
game.
Richardson was 10 for 24 for 129 yards.
That's 46%
and
or some
Huntley
shit.
was 7 for 13 for 87 yards. But then they brought in the big dog. Brought in the big dog Tim Boyle, and he was 8 for 13 for 74 yards. So two different quarterbacks going, just patheticness on both ends. The Dolphins are actually maybe the other team.
That's a made-up word, but I love it all the same.
The Dolphins, I think, are another team that we should have put in that quarterback thing.
Yes, you're right there.
Because if Tua can't play,
reported to come back next week.
But if he can't play, dude, they need to make.
Clearly, they're shot. Clearly, they need a quarterback.
Can they get Trey Lance to do anything? Can they get like a Bryce Young? What can the Dolphins do? Because they have nothing. They are 0%.
It sucks, dude. I benched Waddle and I gave him one game with Skyler I gave him one game with Skyler.
Many, right?
Yeah, it was. I didn't even give him the game with Huntley. He's been on my bench since.
And then can the Colts please go just figure out a quarterback situation, because that team would be awesome.
Anthony Richardson is
it's 24.
Why learn him something? The guy is athletic as all get out.
24.
But that's understandable. Like AR, they're trying to develop.
They're trying real hard.
Flacco is the better quarterback right now for that team, but even if you play him, are you really competing this year?
But maybe it's not there with AR. Maybe it's time to go figure out
they could be that another team in that quarterback.
Because seriously, how good would that team? That we think the weapons on that team are elite.
Clearly good enough
on offense for sure.
I mean, if with Taylor healthy, who hasn't been the last couple of games,
which isn't a surprise.
But to get a dub with him, on ice is always good. Always good when you have 1,000-yard back on the mend and you're still winning games. Now, it was against a very porous Miami offense. You use the word porous for my defense. I get it, but that offense has been trash. They've scored two touchdowns since Tua has been gone, since week 3, right? So that's 4 games. And I think both of them were rushing touchdowns. I don't think they've had a passing touchdown since Tua left in that game. And I put Miami in my 7th seed. I thought they were going to make the playoffs. That's one that I was clearly wrong about. Like they need to look towards. But could they even afford another first-round quarterback? They just paid Tua. Like now, it depends on what happens with him if he comes back. But they're saying he's cleared, right? From what we were just saying, it sounds like he's not only going to come back, he's going to try to come back like next week.
Well, with their coach McDaniels, I just feel like they're more of a recreation kind of spot for like one of these quarterbacks that is still young but hasn't developed like a Trey Young.
Trey Lance?
Trey Lance. Well, no, now you're messing me up. Oh my gosh. Lance would definitely be an option, but I still think Bryce Young is where I was trying to go.
All right.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah, it took a little while to get there, but
You're right. Come back up.
Mixeroo.
Yeah, I'm a little mixed up right now.
I just think that you got to figure something out. Otherwise, you're gonna be finishing towards the end. You'll have top 10 draft pick because you are pathetic right now.
Yeah,
like, you are not good, and the Colts are just barely getting by.
Well, Miami also had all those injuries too on defense that were still coming back, and
yeah, but I don't even think. But no, it's clearly, dude. There's no doubt about it. The linchpin, the glue, has been Tua. Whether you like him or not is a different argument, but what he obviously brings to that offense is undeniable. They win with him a lot more than they do anybody else. They don't win with anybody else. They haven't under McDaniels anyway. That's apparently his quarterback, or he needs somebody a la a Tua. Like Skyler looked bad, and Huntley hasn't come in and looked any better. So with the guy in your system didn't get it done, and then the guy that you brought in to learn the system didn't get it done. They're in purgatory unless Tua steps in and starts dialing up 300-yard games again.
I think they're in trouble.
I do too. I 100% think
one of our bets, Bengals 21, Browns 14.
Dude, the Browns.
Watson done for a year with an Achilles.
That's the biggest storyline. It has to be. Popped his Achilles. Yeah,
deserves it. Other than that, like I don't know.
The views held by some are not the opinion. The views are held by others.
Maybe 2 or 3. I think that the Browns. This is Jameis gonna step up and be Jameis
Winston
with the good Jameis, or is he gonna be the bad Jameis? DTR didn't look good today, so it'd be interesting to see what the Browns do moving forward. But they are also in that quarterback purgatory.
But I think this was actually a blessing in disguise because you're gonna get at least a better look at both of those guys where because of the Winston contract you weren't going to really see them.
Now you have you have to play these guys, right? It's not like you had to play Deshaun because of how much you were putting into him and you had to make him the guy you had to. Now you can't. So now you have to play the guys behind him, right? So in a weird way, this does work out in that sense for the Browns because we all thought that Deshaun was booty before the injury. I don't wish a season-ending injury on just about anybody, so that's unfortunate. But he was not good. I repetitively and still stand by this word was ass was what I was calling it. It was like bad, like not good, and he wasn't good today before he got hurt either. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but just heal. You know, you can heal. I guess he's still only 28, 29.
He's done.
He's got to be as a starter. He's got to prove himself now. Well, he'll get chances, but he won't get starter chances. He'll have to make a squad.
No team's gonna take him after the Browns do whatever.
Some team will. He will get onto a squad as the second or the emergency backup kind of thing and see if he can work towards a starting gig. He won't get the one coming out of the gate anymore. The assured one.
I don't even know if he gets a backup.
Oh, dude, but he's still on Cleveland for another 2 years. He has to be. That contract was fully guaranteed. They have 2 more, $45 million and then $46 million
just
back to back.
Just deal with it. Open up a roster spot. Why even have him as your emergency?
Dude, because
that contract is so bad. But I agree that it's the better move for the
Get
team.
him out of your building.
Oh my God.
But do you remember how they set it up? They didn't pay him a whole lot because they knew he was going to be suspended year one. He had a base salary. They backloaded.
Oh, well. You're done. He's done. You dumped that fool.
Oh my God! You make it sound so easy sitting behind this table here.
I mean, at some point you got to cut your losses.
Yeah, either put him as a backup, and then why is he going to be there? He's not going to be a team player.
Oh my Lord! I don't
contract
disagree with
at
it.
all.
It does. I would not want to be a Cleveland Browns fan right now, dude.
Cleveland.
Another great game of the day. Lions 31, Vikings 29.
That one ended
Lions
up
kick a
rounding
field
into form
goal
big
at
time.
the end of the game to win it. Jared Goff is fucking amazing. He plays so great.
Yes.
Darnold looked really good too. He did throw a bad pick at one point, but I thought he played well. I think he missed a couple guys, maybe going through progressions too quick. But another great game.
In our top 15 for quarterbacks. Jared Goff has been playing like it.
Jared Goff is a top.
When that play action's working,
7-8
and it can when both of those running backs, that team is set up.
Dude, he slings it.
From a competitive standpoint, I'm really bummed that the Lions lost Hutchinson because he was a great piece to what could have potentially been a Super Bowl threatening roster. And it's not to say that this team still can't threaten for the Super Bowl, but it sucks when you see good talent on a good talented team go down. But great game between, like you said, dueling quarterbacks. Darnold did have a better step forward than his last game, much better than his last game. But a shit pick is a shit pick, and you're going to kind of always get one out of Darnold. That's kind of what the knock against him has consistently been.
Goff had a fumble.
He can also do that too. I'm not gonna stand Jared Goff. I do think he's a great player, and I appreciate any guy who gets tossed to the wolves and comes back. Because when that trade was made, he was supposed to be discarded. It was, we're getting rid of you so that we can get Matt Stafford.
He's
gone down there.
He's been all about the rebuild in Detroit.
And I get that.
He's product number one.
The Rams did turn that into one ring. They levied the future for the ring and got the ring. And that's, for a lot of franchises, they would do the same damn thing. But that window in Detroit is now till a good while.
It's got a couple years on it.
It feels like it.
Next game. Beaten, and the beaten. Eagles.
Over the
Eagles 28, Giants 3. It was a beaten, boys. Barkley had 176 yards.
Comes back into his old house and says, "Here it is."
Yep. It was a beaten.
The exact thing that John Mora Sr. said he did not want to see happen on Hard Knocks. That was he sat in that office and talked to fucking Joe Shane. Was like, I can't have him come back into our building and tear us up. And that's exactly what Barkley did.
They sat Daniel Jones and went to Drew Lock at one point in the game. That's big time.
Oh, way late Q4, though. There's 6 minutes left.
Jones reported that he's not very happy that quarterback switch came. So
of course he's
got
not.
a little fire in the building. I like it. Not much to talk about that. Commanders, Jaden Daniels rolling 47, but he gets hurt in the game. Not cool.
Immediately.
Mariota.
No, yeah.
Mariota? That was Mariota?
All the whole game. Jaden Daniels got hurt in the first quarter.
I missed that.
No, that was Mariota game managing. It was great defense. The Commanders defense, damn. The Commanders defense was on point today.
And
Brian Robinson Jr. also had himself a game, which is why.
And that was one of our bets too, boys.
Damn right. Dude, I'm telling you, and we didn't even touch on the Thursday Broncos Saints.
I was going to say we missed Broncos Saints. That was our bet. We took Broncos 33, Saints
cap
10.
off to Trev. That one wasn't on my radar. I didn't want to pick that one.
Saints are beat up offensively, and without those two receivers, now the rest.
They started falling off on defense too. I don't know if you watched that game or they had 2 or 3 different injuries that ended up popping up. Lattimore ended up being out of that game. They lost some players on defense now too, and that's not a squad that's built to withstand that.
I'll say the score of my game. I have no interest in talking about it. Rams 20, Raiders 15. Trev, do you want to talk about your game?
Do I? I mean, I'm not wearing my team's hat on the pod because of the way the game played out. Our division isn't that strong. The Cowboys aren't. Haven't been a threat in forever. Kansas City. It hurts me so much when they beat my team again. And
Mahomes hasn't lost to the Niners.
He hasn't, and it hurts. And I really want to see some changes. I understand us not making any changes thus far into the season because of the lineup consistently changing with a bunch of injuries we had. We just had Ayuk go down. Looks like a knee injury. He might be out for the season at this point.
They're saying feared ACL.
Feared ACL.
It did not look good. I watched it.
It didn't. His shit went the wrong way.
Debo was out today with illness. He looked like he was sick.
Dude, shit, that's...
Purdy
I don't
had
know
3
what that
picks.
means. I don't know.
Yes, Purdy 3 picks. Purdy did not look good
Let
at
him
all. This
talk,
was
Johnny,
his
let him
worst
talk.
game of the season. Prohl, our first round pick, finally got to play. Pearsall, Ricky.
Ricky Prohl was dope too, dude.
Yeah.
Shout out to the Panthers. You remember that?
Yeah, hell yeah, hell
Thank you
yeah,
for that.
hell yeah.
But yeah, and we're going to Conwell. Like, I need to see change at this point. We've given it some time. I feel like change is needed
What
to kind of spark.
What change are you needing, Trev?
It's a great question.
What I think is this has been the worst special teams the Niners have had or fielded in years. It's so bad. It is so bad. That coach needs to go.
Needs to go.
Yeah, it's repeated like game after game. Every game there's a bad play on special teams, and our defensive coordinator, he has some experience there, and I think we should actually move him back there because play calling hasn't been great on defense.
I can
either.
understand. I like that take because that third, part of the job, the special teams, gets lost a lot in the shuffle of good offense and good defense. That phase matters a lot.
That's what the Niners have been this year. This has been their Achilles heel, is they just haven't gelled as a team. There's always something going wrong in one part of the.
It was just fine up there.
Well, I mean,
Deshaun Watson's been the Browns' Achilles
I was gonna.
heel.
As soon as you said it, dude, I flashed. I was like, well, I'm waiting on something.
But that's the other thing I'd like to see. I'd like to see our special teams get better. So I think if we could move our defensive coordinator back there, since his play calling ability has been suspect this season, and give Staley a chance on defense. If we just get one of the 3 positions to be solid, that would make such a difference with the rest of the talent of the team. Yeah, we have injuries. Yeah, guys will be in and out of the lineup, but there's no stability there. And it's just been a disappointment all to this point of the season for the Niners with all that talent on that team.
Should have beat that damn team. We could have another game up on them motherfuckers. They came into my house.
We were in first place.
Yeah. We are a full game clear, but
So
yeah.
I'll start the fandom off.
Let's go.
Friday night and Saturday had 2 teams go in the second half with lead.
Oh no!
And
Lost.
Yes,
both
I
teams.
watched those as well. It hurts
Both
me.
games.
I'm 100%
Nevada
on this
did not
number.
have a score in the second half. They were up 21-10, I think, going into halftime.
Homecoming
Or
against
21-14. Had them on the ropes. Could not score one touchdown in the second half. Gives you the win. A touchdown, a field goal. Come on, you got to be able to do something.
What are we at, boys? Where you at, though?
USC up 28-14.
I didn't see this game.
Squandered the fuck out of that
I
game.
just saw that score.
Blocked field goal, missed opportunities with drops. Just Lincoln Riley's seat's got to be getting a little toasty, I might have to say. A lot of losses.
It's been a big disappointment.
lot of losses with being up on Penn State, being up on this team, being up on. You should have had Michigan.
Leads or not.
Who was the other loss? I couldn't think of it last night. Michigan. We were 3-3 last night, so we had Michigan and Penn State. Who was that other loss?
Minnesota.
Minnesota's fucking lose that game
Maryland. Those are teams they shouldn't be losing to.
We lost to Minnesota, too.
too. Yeah, but
Well, this year's a little different for you.
and
but
Rutgers.
we expected to be better this
And
season.
Rutgers.
yes, and these aren't. So I think Lincoln's seat's got to be a little hot, Trev. My opinion, I'm not really very happy. You're an offensive coach. You can't block to fucking save your quarterback's poor life. Drops were a little bit, but dude, a lot of more penalties. Kind of like the Jaguars. A lot of fucking stupid penalties.
Self-inflicted wounds will always bite you.
Yes. It's the game changer because
Absolutely.
the ball can bounce either way and make it hard for either team. And then that just compiles it and just it makes it unrecoverable.
Like stupid
So many
fucking
games.
penalties, man.
Yes, a lot of them are just not even that. It wouldn't make a difference. And you're still getting that flag.
Dude, yeah, Atlanta had 4 false starts in their own building.
That's
today.
ridiculous. You can't
that's
do that.
absurd. In your own building.
offensive line coach, baby, ripping some ass. I'm ripping his ass. I'll tell you that right now.
I would think it's a little ass ripping needs to be happening.
4 in your own building, dude. That's ridiculous.
4, yeah. 3 on one drive.
Not focused. That's not a focus.
That is, yeah. You don't want to get 4 on the road. 4 on the road is still a brutal amount of false starts, but 4 at home is like,
what are we doing?
Good Lord, yeah. Are we here? What are we doing, boys? You know, they cheer for us here. They like us here. This is our trap.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about that crowd. It's still happening.
We come into your trap and we take your trap. Kirk Cousins, I surf, I swag, I surf. I swear.
Stop.
Hey, it was good. It went, honestly, whatever. We got to celebrate each win because I might go on another 3-game losing streak. So, for right now, 4-3, first in the NFC West, baby. Let's go. I don't really have a fandom this week other than to just kind of comment on, like, literally we had so much topics to talk about. And we didn't even really dive into the WNBA, but they are playing Game 5, as it were, which is, like Trev said, doesn't happen often. It's just such a dope time of the sports year, right? The baseball's been electric.
Just a quick update on that. It's 60-60 in the 4th.
Let's go. We're probably going to end this motherfucker and go watch the end of that.
Or the baseball game. But we're going to
do that too.
We're going to pretend that. End of the 4th. It's going to overtime.
OT.
There it is.
Game
okay.
5.
That's
fucking great.
Dodgers up 6-3 to close out, bottom 6.
Okay.
And 13-15. Starting
Love
the
that.
third
That's
quarter.
what I'm saying. That's a sports right there, dude. That's fandom right fucking there.
Check us out on Instagram and X.
Yeah, Buzzsprout, Spotify for the audio, YouTube. Absolutely. I think that's my favorite. We're going to rebrand to Tuddies and Dingers, so watch out for that when we come back for Pod 72.